Hey Joe, it's Folks here. If you are new to print on demand, a great goal for you would be to try and shoot for $2,500 in profit per month. This is something you could achieve with just 4 sales per day if you are selling a high profit print on demand item. I have chosen $2,500 as the profit goal to use in this video because this is not get rich quick. I started my first print on demand store in 2016. Since then, I have helped lots of people with their stores as well. So far, people that have gone through my trainings have made over $6 million in sales on their own stores. These are mugs that I send to people when they hit different sales milestones. I do have a free course. It's called POD for Dummies. Inside are over 30 videos showing you how to build your store and get started with social media marketing. There is a link down in the description, and like I said, it is completely free. We're going to take this in 2 separate parts. In the first part, I'm going to break down the strategy for you. In the second part, we're going to compare this strategy to some other popular methods of doing print on demand. Now, the strategy I am sharing with you in this video is for you to build your own print on demand store on a place like Shopify and then use the power of social media to make your sales. The quickest way to do this is to choose high profit items. That way we can make more profits with less sales. Many people will recommend you to sell t-shirts if you are a beginner. The problem is that you're going to have to make like 50 sales per day in order to make any real profits at all. And if I'm being honest, as a beginner, making 50 sales per day is not going to be an easy task. There are print on demand items out there that make double, triple, and even 5 to 10 times the profit of a shirt. I make a bunch of videos here on my channel showing some of those items. So if you want to see some actual product reviews, make sure to subscribe and check out some of those other videos. The point though is if we are choosing items that make us a much higher profit, something like maybe $25 per sale, we will only need 4 sales per day to hit our $2,500 per month goal in profit. Well, obviously we're going to need some social media marketing strategies. Before that, we're going to need a store, and even before that, we're going to choose niches and products and ultimately make our designs. All of these things that we are about to go through are very complex subjects, and like I said at the beginning, I do have a free print on demand course that goes through all of these in depth. My hope with this video though is to expose you to the overall strategy to show you the quickest and best way to make yourself a profitable print on demand store. Now, if we're talking about the top part here, your niches, your products, and your designs, what I would say is when you are getting started, less is more. Some people will recommend you to create dozens or 50 to 100 designs just to open your store. In most cases, if a beginner is creating that many designs, they're either going to burn themselves out or they are likely going to create a lot of really bad things. Like I mentioned before, I have worked with a lot of beginners before, and typically what I recommend people to do is to start with like 8 designs total and ultimately try to get 10 to 20 as quick as possible after they open. The point would be though to choose a niche and choose a couple of products and make a handful of designs for each and ultimately get to the point where you can open your store. The faster that you can open, the quicker you will be able to validate your ideas, and you'll also be more excited because you won't be creating dozens and dozens and dozens of designs, and you'll potentially avoid some burnout by doing that. For social media, we are going to want to create a Facebook page and an Instagram page. The names of these pages should reflect something about your store, although they do not have to be exact matches, meaning if the actual page name that you want to use is not available or something like that, you can just create something that is similar and it will be just fine. Now, marketing is the thing that most people have the most questions about, and in my opinion, this is the easy part of the strategy. The hard part is creating a store that people will actually want to buy from, or creating products that people will actually want to pay for. Doing marketing on social media is very simple. There are 3 primary ways that you are going to drive traffic to your store. The first is organic marketing, the second is paid ads, and the third is influencers. If you are able to use a mix of all 3 types of traffic that I just went through, you will likely be able to generate enough traffic to get yourself at least 4 sales per day if you have chosen good niches and good products and made good designs and built a good store, that is. Now, organic traffic is traffic that you are getting from social media for free. It's essentially traffic that you are generating from followers that you have on your social media pages. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a long-term play. It's not like you're just going to start posting on an Instagram account or a Facebook page and overnight get yourself 1,000 followers who will then come to your store. This is a long-term play. The idea here, though, is at the beginning to make sure that you put together a content strategy. What I typically try to do is to create enough content to allow me to post for like 7 to 14 days. Basically, I go out and I find videos to reshare or cool images about my niche, or maybe I make my own images, or maybe I even find some memes or something like that. And then I put together a content strategy, which sounds a lot more complex than it actually is. It's more so me just mapping out what days I'm posting what on my accounts. That way, I don't wake up every day wondering what I am going to post. Now, the idea here would be to make sure that you are posting at least once per day, and that about 80% of the things that you are posting are not product promotions. The goal is not to overload people with too many promotions of your products, but to actually create a page that they will want to follow. And then 20% of the time you can share promotions about the products that you actually sell. Ultimately, when you're just getting started with this, yes, growth is going to be slow, but over time, you're going to want to shoot for about a 10 to 25% growth in your followers every single week. The goal would be to get to your first couple of thousand followers relatively quickly, so that way you can begin continuously promoting your items and driving people to your store. The next part is running paid ads on both Facebook and on Instagram. A big myth with this is that you need hundreds of dollars to get started with this. Every single ad that I launch on my store starts at a $1 per day budget. And for me, the key is making sure that I am running ads with really high quality mockups, sort of like these here. What I'm showing you right now is a couple of ads from some really successful and profitable print-on-demand stores that I've also reviewed here on the channel to show you that when it comes to the actual ad images that you are creating, you do not have to have a bunch of Photoshop skills or even have any sort of photo shoots promoting your items. You can use different places like Placeit or even just mockups from the print-on-demand supplier as well, depending on the item to promote your products. The number one goal, though, with a paid ad on Facebook or on Instagram is to make sure that you are actually showing your ad to members of your niche. For this, you'll want to experiment with both advantage and interest-based audiences to basically try and target different keywords relevant to your niche. Now, the next method of marketing is actually my favorite way to sell print-on-demand items. What I'm talking about is influencer marketing. This is you partnering with a content creator inside of your niche to promote your items. Any content creator out there that is creating niche-based content is going to have followers that are members of the niche. For example, let's say that you were inside of the cooking niche. There's a high chance that you could find someone on social media, a content creator in the cooking niche, who has followers that like to cook. And if you are selling print-on-demand items that have to do with cooking, they could be a great partner for you to actually promote the items to their followers. This is something I have done a whole lot with the print-on-demand stores that I've ran. Like I said, it is my favorite way to sell print-on-demand items because it allows you to instantly get your products in front of 10,000 or 20,000 or even 100,000 followers or more, depending on how big the account is that you are partnering with. The goal here, though, would be to make sure that you can strike up some sort of a long-term partnership with the content creator that you are working with. Typically, what I try to do is get to the point where they can actually earn commissions when they make sales for you. This would be done by basically giving them a discount code unique to them to promote to their followers and tracking how many times it is used, so that way you can figure out what you owe them for commissions. Obviously, this is a little bit more in depth, so if you wanted to just start with them and not do commissions, that would be totally fine. The point, though, like I said, is to use all of these marketing methods together to generate your 4 sales per day. In my opinion, if you're a beginner, that is a great goal, and it is 100% achievable, much unlike some of the things that you typically see on YouTube with people talking about making 50 t-shirt sales per day or something like that as a beginner. Now, as I mentioned, what we're going to do now is talk through why this strategy is better than some of the other popular methods of doing print on demand. Essentially, I have made the case today that the best and fastest way for you to generate $2,500 a month in profit is to build your own store and to use social media to make your sales. Now, the alternatives in terms of other popular print-on-demand methods would be to potentially open an Etsy store or an Amazon shop where you're basically just uploading as many designs as possible and relying on the traffic that exists on those platforms to make your sales. Personally, I think the way that I've outlined today is better because of a few key reasons, and this is going to be based on my own experience of almost 10 years running print-on-demand stores and also working with tons of other people. Like I mentioned before, I have taught these strategies to many people, and I'm going to be drawing on that experience as well. The first thing is that you are not going to need as many designs. If your goal is to make $2,500 in profit per month and you are selling on somewhere like Etsy or on Amazon, you are likely going to be creating hundreds of designs. Yes, hundreds, over 100, over 200 designs. That is a number that many people would recommend if you are getting started with Amazon or with Etsy. What I talked about today is you starting with like 10 to 20 designs. Now, obviously, if those 10 to 20 do not sell, you'll need to make more. But the vast majority of stores that I launch and the vast majority of stores that I see others launch start with that amount. And that is, to me, a major benefit because you are not facing any burnout by creating your designs. If you are spending weeks or even months creating hundreds of designs, there's a high chance that you are going to feel quite burnt out by the end of that. The second thing is that you can actually stand out inside of a good niche. If you watch any content at all, a lot of people will talk about, if you're selling on Amazon or on Etsy, the fact that you should be choosing a low competition niche. In my opinion, that is sort of just code for it's a little bit too crowded, there's too many people selling, you need to find a bad niche so that way you won't have any competition. Essentially, all of the good niches have too many sellers in them on Amazon and on Etsy. If you are building your own store and selling products on social media, it does not really matter how many other people are selling in those niches because they are not being shown to your customer at the same time as your products. You are able to go right to your customer, right to the people in your niche, and if you have created something cool, they will buy it. And personally, I would always rather sell in a better niche than in a lower competition niche because, like I said, a low competition niche is likely low competition for a reason. It likely doesn't have a lot of demand, it likely doesn't have a lot of long-term potential, and it's probably just not that profitable. Now, the third thing is that if you are selling on these platforms like Amazon or Etsy, you are going to be extremely limited in terms of how many print-on-demand products you can actually sell. In most cases, if you're selling on those platforms, you're going to be selling t-shirts or mugs or maybe even posters for the wall, but you're probably not going to branch out much more than that. The fact is that print-on-demand has grown. There are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of print-on-demand items out there available from many different suppliers, and when you are selling on social media, it opens up the possibilities so much more for you to sell some really cool and high profit items because you are able to rely on people making impulse purchases. If you are selling on Amazon or on Etsy, you are only going to be able to sell what people are actually searching for. And the fact is that there are a lot of really cool items out there that people do like and they do buy, but they likely don't actually sit down and type it into Etsy. The only way that they know they want it is when you put it in front of them on social media. Another reason to actually open your own store is it might actually be funner for you. So many times I have talked to people that are running an Etsy shop and they just kind of feel like they are being overworked. They are in a situation where they are in charge, but they also feel like they are never getting a moment to rest. All they're doing is making new designs depending on the time of year or the season or what holiday is next. When you own your own store, you are in control. You have your product line and your time is primarily going to be spent on social media engaging with your followers. In my opinion, that is a much funner way to run a print-on-demand business, and it might help you to actually be motivated if you are not making sales. And lastly, you own it. If you are running your own store, that is an asset for you. If you are growing social media pages and you also have the store, those two things together are worth something. If you're selling on Amazon, after 6 months or 7 months, no matter how many sales you've made, all you have is an Amazon store. It's not really worth anything in the same way that a Shopify store with social media pages, essentially a brand, would be worth. And that is something that you can actually sell. Personally, I have sold multiple print-on-demand stores. I'm not sitting here advising you to make that your goal. It's just something that we have to list if we're talking about a pros and cons list for making your own store compared to selling on a place like Amazon or Etsy. So hopefully everything today made sense. Like I said, I wanted to give you an overview of what I think is the quickest way to make 4 sales per day, which would equal over $2,500 in profit per month if you were selling a high profit print-on-demand product. Hopefully this is something that you will try. Like I said earlier too, if you want to go through some more advanced training from me, I do have a free print-on-demand course. It's called POD for Dummies, and there's a link down in the description. If you have any questions at all, please make sure to leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.